So up till now, we've been using the Azure storage account and we've been using the blobs in there. Now, blobs are more akin to a container. You create one or more containers and you can store files in them. It doesn't really have a proper file structure, even though it simulates one. But there are many limitations. You can't, mount your blob container to your computer or to your server. The proper way to deal with files in terms of mounting and in terms of treating them actually like files and folders is the Azure Files. Now, Azure Files is a feature of a regular storage account. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new storage account for Azure Files. I can skip through most of these requirements. I'm not going to tag it. So we're going to create a regular storage v2 general purpose storage account, and then we're going to be able to use a file service. All right, we're going to go into the resource. And so you'll recall we got our blobs, files, tables, and queues, and this time we're going to talk about files. Now, by default, there are no file shares. So this is akin to the container of a blob. You have to create your first file share. So I'm going to call this temp files. And you also could optionally define a total limit to this file share, just like a regular hard drive. So I'm going to basically put one terabyte limit on this file share. Now I have a file share that I can start creating folders and files in. So now we have additional abilities to add directories, etc. Okay. Now, one of the benefits of using a file share is to be able to connect to it and use it like you would use a mounted drive or a network drive on your own computer. So if I click this connect button, I can see that it's going to let me pick a drive letter. So if I want to use this as a particular drive. So Microsoft's giving us a few different ways to connect to this file share. One is through PowerShell. So they've given us a PowerShell command that we can run in a PowerShell window. The other is through the Windows command prompt, the traditional netuse command, which will allow us to mount this drive as a drive letter. And if you're running a form of Linux, then you can use this sudo mount command to mount this as well. Now, I should warn you, I'm going to copy the command line one. Should warn you in advance that many ISPs, including Comcast in the United States and Rogers here in Canada, and others, block port 445 so that no communication can travel over their networks over that port. Microsoft and others use port 445 for file shares. The reason this is blocked is for security purposes. A lot of home users, particularly, might accidentally leave their computer open and the sharing of their C drive or their D drive open. And so this is sort of like the easiest vector for hackers to get access to your computer. So the ISPs have just turned that off for residential users. So I'm not going to be able to mount this. But there is a way around this. We're going to talk about file sync coming up, but basically we can mount our files using file sync. But in a corporate network, you should be able to either use the netuse or the traditional PowerShell here to connect this, and basically you end up with a drive that you or anyone can mount and then have shared files. One of the best uses for this is when you have multiple servers. Let's say you have 10 servers in a load balance configuration, but they need a set of files that they can all share. And so you create one file mount, you mount all of these in those servers, and then they can just write their log files there, they can put their temporary files there, their images, etc. It becomes a central file repository for servers. Very popular usage of the Azure File Service.